Dr. Rathod, the line, "This island's mine, by Sycorax my mother, which thou taxed from me," encapsulates colonial dispossession. How does Caliban's assertion challenge Prospero's authority?
Caliban's claim highlights the indigenous perspective of rightful ownership, directly opposing Prospero's colonial narrative. This reflects real-world scenarios where indigenous peoples' lands were usurped under the guise of discovery. For example, consider the European colonization of the Americas.
Prospero counters with, "I have used thee, filth as thou art, with human care." This justifies his exploitation as benevolence. Isn't this reminiscent of colonial justifications for subjugation?
Absolutely, colonizers often framed their actions as a civilizing mission. A historical parallel is the British Empire's approach in India, where economic exploitation was masked as development aid. Yet, Caliban's resistance exemplifies the enduring spirit of the oppressed.
Given these dynamics, how do you see the shift towards decolonization in modern contexts?
Modern movements towards decolonization focus on restitution and cultural revival. Nations are increasingly recognizing indigenous rights, as seen in the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. However, overcoming centuries of exploitation remains a complex challenge.
In The Tempest, Prospero's description of Caliban as a freckled whelp hag-born dehumanizes him. How does this reflect racial prejudices of the era?
Prospero's language mirrors the colonial rhetoric of dehumanizing the other to justify domination. This aligns with historical narratives where colonizers depicted natives as subhuman. Such views persist today, influencing racial discrimination and systemic bias.
Yet some argue this portrayal was common in literature to reflect societal norms. Could Shakespeare be critiquing rather than endorsing these views?
Indeed, Shakespeare's work often critiques societal norms through irony and character dynamics. Caliban's eloquence and connection to the island challenge his savage depiction, suggesting a deeper exploration of humanity beyond racial stereotypes.
Looking forward, how can literature help dismantle racial hierarchies today?
Literature serves as a powerful tool for empathy and understanding. By amplifying diverse voices and perspectives, contemporary narratives can challenge entrenched biases and promote equity. Educational reforms integrating diverse literatures are crucial steps forward.
Caliban's line, "You taught me language, and my prophet aunt is I know how to curse," reflects language as both a tool of control and resistance. Can you elaborate on this duality?
Language imposition was a means of cultural erasure, yet it became a vehicle for resistance, as seen with Homi Bhabha's concept of mimicry. Caliban's use of language to curse Prospero signifies subversion, much like how enslaved Africans used spirituals for covert communication.
Critics might argue that language acquisition was a path to empowerment. How do you address this counterpoint?
While language acquisition can empower, it often came at the cost of cultural identity. The forced assimilation into a colonizer's language suppressed native languages. Today, the revival of indigenous languages is a significant aspect of cultural reclamation.
In what ways can modern societies support this reclamation process?
Supporting language preservation through education and media is vital. Technology, like translation apps and digital archives, plays a crucial role in making indigenous languages accessible, ensuring cultural narratives are preserved for future generations.
Gonzalo's vision, "All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor," suggests a utopian society. How does this critique colonial greed while acknowledging its naivety?
Gonzalo's idealism critiques colonial exploitation by envisioning a society based on equality. However, it overlooks the complexities of governance and cultural identity. Real-world attempts at utopian societies often falter due to these oversights, such as communal living experiments.
Skeptics might argue that such visions are impractical. How do you respond to this skepticism?
While utopian ideals may seem impractical, they serve as aspirational benchmarks. They challenge us to strive for societal improvements. For instance, sustainable development goals aim to balance idealism with practical solutions for global issues.
Looking to the future, how can these ideals influence modern governance?
Incorporating utopian principles into policymaking encourages innovative solutions for equity and sustainability. By fostering inclusive dialogue and participatory governance, societies can work toward realistic yet ambitious goals, bridging idealism and reality.